Do you remember how the events of that night started?
I think how it started was Rona was working at the restaurant that night, and I was also working at Urban, and we got out at the same time, and we talked about maybe going to see a movie.
We were at my boyfriend Derek's house.
She mentioned that Derek was there and wanted to see it, and I was like, oh, well, then you guys should go see it.
And she didn't want to go because she felt like a third wheel, or so we really insisted, and then Derek was really sweet, and he grabbed her keys. And
remember when you took my keys because I didn't want to go?
Barely.
Anyways, they ended up getting me to go to the movie.
Basically, we forced her to come with us.
And while the movie was playing, I get muscle spasm. It was on my left side, on my rear. And if this were, say, me, it felt, this must have been what was happening, because it felt just like pressure, pressure, pressure. And so I would reach down and just put pressure on it, because that would usually make it stop or go away. I reached down a last time, and that's when I felt like fingers pulling away as I was going down. I remembered thinking that there was this guy next to the empty seat. There was an empty seat between us. I remember thinking he felt awfully close. But when I felt the fingers moving away, that's when I realized what happened, and I just sat straight up.
I noticed Rachel just flinch really bad.
I didn't know what to do. I guess I was just in disbelief.
Rachel quickly get up.
Rachel stood up really quick.
And I just went around her and then him and sat on the other side of Derek.
And so immediately I knew something went wrong.
But then I looked over, and she looked really distressed.
So I turned to my left to look to see where you just came from, and I saw this guy get up and start to walk away really fast. So then I turned to Rachel. And
Derek had asked her, did he touch you? Asking Rachel this, and she had her hand over her mouth, and she was shaking.
But immediately I stood up to go stop the guy.
So he got up right away and went after the guy, and at that point I didn't know what to do, if I should stay with her, because this is my friend who's something traumatizing could have happened to her, and at the same time too I didn't want Derek to get in trouble.
And then I saw the guy, he actually turned and looked back at me, and it was just weird. The first thing I noticed was his teeth, and they stood out in a dark theater. His giant teeth stood out.
Derek, I could see that Derek, was just trying to talk to the guy.
I just tried to talk to him. I was like, hey man, did you touch that girl inside? He tried to run away really fast, so I went after him. And actually I think I punched him right away.
And it was weird because the guy didn't throw any punches at Derek.
And it was probably the longest fight anyone's ever been in, actually, unless it's a professional fight. It was like a maze. We went through an entire complex, the entire theater we went through. We started in the lobby, and
they ended up wrestling into another movie theater.
Wrestled there for a while, and then we ended up on a back alley, or a concrete balcony leading to the back exit.
When they stepped out of the exit into the stairway, I decided to use my purse to prop open, to keep the door open.
I remember it seemed like it was a really long time, and I didn't know what to do. So I just sat there because Rona had left too.
I didn't know what to do at that point. All this thing was going on. I was like, okay, should I go back to Rachel?
But eventually she came back for me, and I didn't know where we were going. We started going through to the next theater over, and then back the back door, and then suddenly we were in the back exit.
But I was just wrestling with him for a while, and then finally I saw Rona.
And he was just saying, get help, and I could tell that he's really tired because he's holding down this guy.
So we instantly just ran away. We ran out of the theater. I remember going up to the counter where I think you would buy concession maybe, and I was just pounding on the counters and yelling and screaming help, somebody help.
So we were wrestling there for a while, and he just kept struggling for a long time. And we were making our way down the balcony, and we ended up in the stairwell, wrestling in the stairwell. I don't know, it's just weird thoughts just pop in your head these times, because you're just trying to get through whatever you're going through. And I immediately just started thinking of UFC. And I was just like, all right, I just need to try to put this guy to sleep or something. So I did. I had him in a headlock, and I don't know how it worked, but it worked. And then finally he woke up again, and he's just sitting there breathing. He's like, oh, man, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You actually did it. You put me to sleep.
we started going outside of the movie theater. And then at that time, too, I was thinking, okay, I don't know how to get back in, and I don't have my purse. So I left one of my shoes there to keep the door open, and I was running around.
We couldn't find, like, anybody. It took us forever to finally find this one security guy, and we kept telling him, like, you know, hurry up quick, there's this guy.
And I was just yelling at this guy, hurry, you gotta come, you know.
And he was just kind of walking.
But it was really making me angry because the security guard, he was like, where are we going?
Where are we going? And we were like, please, just come. We're going to the movie theater. He's being held down. We really need you to hurry up and just come.
But he didn't ask once. He asked a few times, where are you taking me? I'm like, I'm showing you. Come on, hurry up.
Well, there was a point where he bit you, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he bit me. That was awesome. Yeah, I just got this sweatshirt from Urban Outfitters, and I liked it a lot. But yeah, and I actually heard it rip a little bit, too. And I was just like, oh, pissed off. It's like I get a new sweatshirt now.
It took forever to finally get him there. But once we finally led him through the entire mall, through the theater, through the back way, you know, he saw what was happening.
A security guy finally came. It was actually a concession guy and a security guy. And it was actually funny because the security guy just kind of stood there and got on his radio to talk to somebody, and the concession guy immediately went and hopped on the guy and just held him there. I was like, oh, thank God, somebody's helping me. It was a concession guy, not the security guy. Yeah, so he called in help, and we're walking the guy. They end up, you know, just kind of escorting him. We went down the steps. The main security guy came down, and he got in my face. He was like, hey, all right, you guys go. And he's like starting to let the guy go away. But I was just like, he's not leaving. And it's like, he just touched a girl upstairs. He's like, well, do you have any proof? You know, where they at? And I had no idea where they were at. And I was hoping to God that they were going to come at this point.
So and then as we were going down the steps, Derek pointed to Rachel, saying that that's her, that the man had sexually assaulted.
He ended up trying to handcuff the guy, and the guy was fighting, you know, body slamming him pretty much on the concrete.
They cuffed him, and then we went on this long route to get to the security room.
We had to go through, like, this really long path, like narrow hallways.
Skinny stairwell.
Winding all over the place, going upstairs.
And we got there, and then we had to each individually separate and write down exactly our statement.
So they sat us down, you know, they called the cops, you know, they asked us to write down, you know, what had happened.
And so we're all sitting there until the police could show up.
We were talking when we were there when we were waiting in the security room about how,
Yeah.
I mean, at this point we'd become really lighthearted and
Yeah.
kind of joking about certain aspects of the night. And I don't know, like, what do you remember about that?
Yeah, it was kind of funny because just the thoughts that go through your head.
I was wearing, like, this dress and then, like, these leggings and then these really narrow heeled boots.
Just his teeth. I can't get around one. That was the biggest one, actually. It was just...
You know, I was running. It felt weird having just one shoe. You know, these things are going through my head.
And I remember while we were running, because we were having to do a lot of running, I just kept thinking inside, like, it's a good thing I've been running lately.
Going to UFC. That, because, you know, I don't know, your brain just goes off to, like, these really weird areas.
And then also, you know, I thought, oh man, I just bought these shoes. But I think it was like 6 in the morning or so before we got home. Finally, you know, we went to bed. That was that. It was over.
That's what happened.